Never seen so much devaluing of human life. You know, it's like it's fun, and they talk about it in rap videos and songs, and it's just doesn't make any sense.
Escalating violence at the Essex County Correctional Facility after a former New York City rapper who was awaiting sentencing on federal drug charges got slashed in a vicious altercation with another inmate.
Inmate Lugo, you couldn't see his face because he was saturated in blood. You couldn't see it at the time because his whole face was saturated in blood and his whole uniform was saturated in blood.
Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic at the sight.
This may come as a shock to some people, but there are rappers out there who might not see the end of 2025.
I've never seen so much devaluing.
That's crazy that they say that. That's real crazy that they say that, because how they supposed to know? How they know? They don't know how they move.
Of human life. You know, it's like it's fun, and they talk about it in rap videos and songs, and it's just doesn't make any sense.
Now, you might think that sounds a bit extreme, but if you really look at the pattern of violence in the rap community, it starts to make sense. Over the past few decades, the number of rappers offed each year has been steadily increasing. Back in the 90s, it was considered shocking when 1 or 2 rappers were offed in a year. Huge funerals, extensive media coverage, and mourning from the hip-hop community would follow. But fast forward to today, and the numbers are on a completely different level. In just the past few years, the frequency of rapper deaths has escalated. In 2020, we lost 21 rappers.
A rising rap star shot to death before sunrise in a Hollywood Hills home. Police say 20-year-old Bashar Jackson, who went by Pop Smoke, was gunned down.
Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, that little situation was a little too wild.
When several suspects broke in to rob him.
In 2021, that number jumped to 29.
The Memphis police chief is asking everyone to stay home tonight after rapper Young Dolph is gunned.
Yeah, RP Dolph. Yeah, and Pop Smoke.
Down in at a South Memphis cookie shop.
Imagine being able to 22 saw 11 rappers lose their lives, while 2023 claimed 13.
The fans are mourning the popular rapper reportedly killed today at Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles. TMZ reports PNB Rock was shot to death while eating lunch at a restaurant in South LA.
And here we are, in 2024, and so far, we've already lost 12 rappers.
Now cars filled with bullet holes are at the center of an investigation to find out why famous rapper Julio Fulio, who just turned 26, was shot dead early this morning.
At this rate, it's hard to deny that the trend is alarming. If this pattern continues, it's unfortunately safe to assume that some of the rappers out there today might not live to see 2025. The reasons are painfully clear. Many of these rappers are still deeply involved in gang wars and street violence, and they aren't shy about openly dissing their rivals in songs and on social media. In this world, retaliation is almost inevitable, and it's often just a matter of time before violence catches up to them. One of the rappers who finds himself at high risk is Kay Flock. Back in 2020, Kay Flock was skyrocketing to fame. His music was blowing up, and it seemed like he was poised to dominate the drill scene, especially in the Bronx. But much like Chicago drill back in its early days, the Bronx drill scene is about more than just music. Almost every rapper is gang affiliated, and the real-life beefs happening in the
Mostly all of them. I think they all is, for real.
Streets spill over into the music. Kay Flock's situation is no different. At the start, Flock and fellow Bronx rapper Edot Baby were on good terms. They were cool with each other, even collaborating. But things took a turn when Edot was seen hanging out with some of Flock's rivals, specifically members of the RPT gang. That betrayal set off a beef between the two, and before long they were trading disses on tracks. Songs like Clicking and Geek intensified the situation, turning what might have just been a musical rivalry into something
And that's wild.
Much more dangerous.
Like you Raptors, gang in the back and they built like the Packers. You don't shoot like you Kobe, you play for the Lakers. Like, no, I don't play for the Lakers. Like, I'm a gangster, taking them risks. Southside shit to my shit.
While the feud with Adat Baby was heating up, K-Flock's music career was still on the rise. But instead of leaving the streets behind, he stayed involved in the beef, and things escalated quickly. On December 2021, things took a deadly turn. K-Flock allegedly shot and offed one of Edit's friends, a man named Waka, outside a barbershop in broad daylight. According to initial police reports, Flock spotted Waka in the shop and decided to confront him. The two exchanged words, and then Flock allegedly turned to leave. But instead of walking away, the report says Flock turned back around and shot Waka in the neck and back. Surveillance footage caught the entire incident on camera. The police released an image of the shooter, who was seen wearing a Moncler coat, Amiri jeans, and a pair of unreleased Jordans, an outfit that made it look like Flock went out looking for trouble that day. But later on, new footage emerged that seemed to tell a different story. The video showed K-Flock walking by the barbershop without stopping or interacting with anyone inside. Waka, on the other hand, was seen exiting the shop and following Flock down the street. They exchanged words, and that's when things turned deadly.
Seemed like he caught him out of nowhere.
Flock eventually turned himself in for the EMDR, but his legal team is arguing that it was self-defense. Based on the footage, it seems like Waka may have been the one to initiate the confrontation, which could work in Flock's favor. But that's just the beginning of his legal troubles. While fans were hopeful in December 2022 when Flock said in a jail call that he would be coming home soon, things took a major turn in February 2023. The US Department of Justice handed down a massive RICO indictment targeting 8 alleged members of the Sevside and Third Side gangs, with K-Flock named as one of the key players. According to the indictment, these two gangs were responsible for terrorizing the Bronx with violence between 2019 and 2022. The EMDR of Waka is included in the RICO case, but it
that's crazy.
doesn't stop there. Flock is also facing charges for allegedly firing shots at rival gang members in June 2020 and again in November 2021. While beating a EMDR charge might be possible if his lawyers can prove self-defense, RICO charges are an entirely different beast. Getting out of a RICO case is nearly impossible without cutting a deal or snitching, and based on how things are looking, the feds don't seem interested in giving Flock any leniency. If convicted, K-Flock is looking at a minimum of life in prison. Depending on the outcome, he could even face the death penalty. And even though he's currently behind bars, his gang ties still make him a target for potential violence, whether from rival gangs or even from people within his own circle. Next up is Casanova, a rapper whose career was booming before things took a sharp turn. Known for his gritty music and wild persona, Casanova's world came crashing down when he faced
Casanova.
some serious charges that no one saw coming. On December 1st, 2020, news of his arrest shook the music industry. The feds had put out a nationwide manhunt for him, linking him to an 18-person indictment involving the infamous untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation gang.
Tonight, a Brooklyn rapper who goes by the stage name Casanova is wanted by the FBI. His real name is Caswell Sr., and the feds say he's a member of a violent street gang.
The charges were no joke: racketeering, EMDR, drug trafficking, firearms, and fraud. As the news spread online, it felt like the walls were closing in on Casanova. Instead of staying on the run, though, Casanova turned himself in at the Midtown South Precinct in Manhattan. The move caught everyone off guard. Just before he surrendered, a video popped up online that his wife Swaggy Jazzy posted. In the clip, Casanova is seen calmly smoking a cigarette, having a quiet conversation